Good to see you.
You're good. I'm joking too. Wait, when are you gonna rap?
When?
I've e-
I'm
I've even I've even got a video.
I'm not rapping tonight. I'll tell you that.
Oh, you know what? We need to grace Pat with this,
Pat knows.
but he
We're not
doesn't.
doing this tonight, man.
Pat
Not on.
knows, but he doesn't know like this. Pat, I got something special for you, buddy.
All right.
Came across this. We're already, signed in. We're already started, so we're gonna let EJ get the thing going. And at some point I'm just gonna interrupt very abruptly.
Are we recording already?
Yeah, we are. We totally are.
All right. Well, let's get this shit rolling. I didn't watch a single stroke after 6 a.m. today, so
Oh.
I saw like the first four guys go off, but that was it. So break it down. Tell me what happened. Nutshell it for me. Ryder Cup Sunday. Somebody.
Pat, you go.
Scott's on it. I'm ready to hear what he has to say. I watched some of it.
Well, that's why I watched too, was some of it. I didn't get to see a little bit because I went to church and I didn't feel like waking up disgustingly early either. But what I saw was just this like, I don't even know how to describe it, this match between Scotty and Rom, the lead match. That at times it seemed like strokes of brilliance, and then who wanted to lose it more. And it probably was proper that it ended in a tie, although of course I was hoping Scotty was going to win it. Partially because it'd be 2 cups in a row where he knocked off Rom. Also because, let's face it, like for the last 12 months they've been the 2 best players. So, obviously I want Captain America to prevail, but it was a fitting end for them to tie. Then fast forward a little bit to Rory's match.
Okay.
And man, Burnsy, I mean, he hit some shots. Like on number 9, he gets up there and Rory's is gonna have some sort of iron in. And Burns had a little bit of a hang and lie and smashes this wood to like, it's par 5 and the pin's in like a bowl and he smashes it down there to like 6-8 feet. And he's already 2-3 down at that point. And then he has another couple good shots, but at the end of the day, like he never had any sort of flair, which is pretty much, I think, a good way to sum up his Ryder Cup experience anyway, was lack of it. He got smashed 4-3. And it's like, dang, dude, it would have been nice if you just pushed him a little bit.
How long were we mathematically in it?
Actually, for quite a while.
That's nice.
I think.
In a perfect case scenario, we were in it for a long time, but at the same time, it was over Friday
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when it was 6 to 1.5, 6.5 to 1.5, it was technically over at that point. But yes, mathematically they could win, but
yeah.
No.
So look at it like this, if I'm not mistaken, with the end results, we tied them between Saturday and Sunday play, but they built a 5-up lead that we never, never touched after day 1.
So what was the final score?
Was it 17-11? So 16-12, something like that. I'm pulling it up right now.
Can you pull up the results of today's matches?
16.5 and 11.5. I knew it was 5 points.
16.5, 11.5 is not good.
I mean, it's better than the 19.9 that we put on them 2 years ago.
I don't know what to really even make of this. Like, in fairness, like,
I would like to take a look at the individual records.
Yeah.
I think that's what's most important. Is individual. What did you do?
Did Max win today?
He did.
Man, Max had a great Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Well, did Harmon win or no?
No. He didn't play poorly. He just got outplayed. He made a lot of par putts to like tie or even birdie putts.
He
played Hatton. Right? Hatton played really well.
Yeah, Hatton's been playing well.
Yeah.
Hatton played good golf and enjoyed himself today, it looked like.
That
like
had
if
to
that
been
dude,
like
if that
foreign.
dude enjoys himself, it's not going to be good for you.
No.
Yeah.
That had to be like a foreign thing.
Hatton just went out and did Hatton type things, Do you want to see?
Yeah, so let's go over the results. Rory won and Rahm and Scheffler was a tie. How'd Hovland do?
He smashed his way 4-3 over Morikawa.
Okay, who went out third? Cantlay
against Justin Rose, and that was another heated match. Cantlay finally won it, on 17, but there was a time that he was up 3, and then you'll see here in just a second where he lost 3 of the next 4 holes. Thankfully, he mixed in a victory. But he had to win 17 to finish off Rose 2-1.
The European fans throw any batteries or bananas at him like they do at the soccer games?
I don't think so.
Oh,
but they were definitely chanting "hats off" for Patrick's bank account.
I love that shit. You heard that? You know what I'm saying? Like the Euros got the memo, man. They're on it. I've been pondering. I'm coming up with a bunch of U.S. chants. They're gonna be ignorant as shit. We're gonna love them. We're gonna love them.
One thing I noticed on the hat discussion though is I noticed that like when Rory was doing his interview this afternoon, and they were asking him about the whole Joe LaCava thing or whatever, but like when you looked at Rory was wearing a Rory hat that looked just like the ones that Nike makes that you can't buy. It's the Nike cut Rory hat that's got this funky little shape to it where it's shaped back down, but the bill's still up. And it's like, you can't buy those. But the European team had those made with the logo on them. So Rory looked like Rory does in his hat, comfortable in his hat with their logo, which the U.S. team doesn't do. You got a guy that's used to wearing a soft-sided dad hat, and then you give him a damn rope hat, snapback USA on it. It doesn't work. Like it does. That's not what those guys are comfortable playing.
I think the whole uniform debacle just needs killed. They need to just let somebody with even any sort of talent. Let Kanye design the outfits.
Okay, let's not go that far. Let's not go that far.
We have so many fashion-forward people that live in the United States. Come on, man. Like, I can't be the only one that can come up with ideas. But
I think Kanye and Rodman get together and they figure it out.
I agree.
Throw Khaled in there because he goes to golf. He goes golfing.
I think Khaled could have beat Koepka and Scheffler the other day.
More than likely.
Koepka and Scheffler shot 7 over in 11 holes. It's bad. I mean, like, the silence is deafening, but the performance is worthy of the deafening silence.
You'll be able to tell in the first 3 holes.
Yeah.
It was either it was going to be feast or famine.
Okay, so Rory won 3-1. Max beat Matty Fitz. How was that match? Did you watch any of that?
So, in my opinion, it was a bit lopsided in the beginning. I mean, if you just take a look at it right here, you've got Matty Fitz taking the first point, and then Max gets one a couple holes later. Matty Fitz takes another one, and then Max, just start putting it on him. And I mean, Matty Fitz grabbed one more at 11, and then they halved all the way in, you know, for a 1-up victory. And, you know, I think Homa kind of went and slayed the dragon. Matty Fitz was probably playing the best out of everybody. Him and Hovland, you know, were pretty unstoppable forces. But Matt was definitely one of the 2 best players in the cup. And Max went and got it done.
But at the same time, on 17, they have the hole with a bogey. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't exhibition golf or anything that he just put on a clinic.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about Hatton beating Harmon. Brooksy beat Ludwig. That's good.
Yeah.
You thought that was going to be a loss for Brooksy, so I'm glad that he pulled through. JT beat who's that?
Sepp Straka. Yeah. Straka made him work for it.
How did anybody watch any of that?
Oh yeah. Straka made him work for it.
Play?
Say what?
How did JT end up playing?
Fairly well. A couple loose shots, but he rode momentum and he rose to the occasion. There was one hole, and I can't remember which one it was. But some point around the turn, Straka was about 30, 35 feet below the cup and had a putt break in like 2.5 feet. At least. I mean, it was a good bender. Knocks it in, and then JT's probably just inside of 30 feet from the left of the cup, uphill, a little bit of break from left to right. And it was one you could tell because like they didn't have the greens very fast because they're pretty undulating.
Sure.
And you can watch some of the shots like when they were really uphill, like the ball would be moving in pretty quickly and just die. And JT nailed it, man. You know, and got fired up. You know, of course was chiding, if not taunting. Oh, of course.
He's such a douche. You can't.
What did you think of the golf course, Scott? The golf course hadn't had much talk this week whatsoever. Is that because it's just been good, consistent, and fair?
I thought they said it really well today that for the Italian Open, it's not the most interesting golf course. But for match play, it was thought provoking, really got after the guys. I don't know what the total distance was. I'm not even going to begin to speculate on it. But something they were talking about a lot on the broadcast, how this course really played like it had 6 par 3s. 3 of the par 4s were drivable. I think it was like number 5, 11, and was it 16?
Yes.
Yeah. So I felt like the course definitely encouraged risky play, you know, but if you pulled the shot off, there was reward, you know, at the end of it. And so I liked that. I would have personally liked to have seen the greens faster, and not even because of if favoring the Americans or anything like that, but I did feel like there's a few times where they got aggressive and didn't really pay a penalty. Now granted, I mean 18 yesterday, those guys that missed right had no chance of getting anywhere near the hole. And that became kind of evident. But still, I don't know. It would have been nice to see the greens a little bit faster for as big as they were. I mean, I know they're undulated, but they were saying something like they're maybe getting to an 11 on the stent meter, which to any of us, the common golfer, you go out and play, and the greens are an 11. Doesn't matter if they're flat or they're undulating, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Like you're gonna think, oh man, the greens are really fast today, more than likely. But I just felt like those guys, could have dealt with it more. I mean, there are so many pins that even though there are knobs and everything to repel the ball away, there's just so much open space between, the pin and the center of the green. It's like, dang, you can make these things faster and a little bit more penal, you know. But overall, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good course for match play.
I think greens that are built that way were built for a speed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way that's goes. And I think if you get to, I mean, you might be able to add a foot to them, make it a 12 on the meter. But I think if you get to 13, it gets unfair because of the way that the greens were built.
Yeah, I agree. And I would actually rather see, from a day-to-day standpoint, bigger greens with more undulations that are more interesting, that get players to think, and greens that, may today, like a front left pin might require an approach in from the left side of the fairway, but then the next day, for a back right pin, you might need an approach from the middle of the fairway. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff up, but there's so many golf courses where it's like you just knock it down the middle. That's all you got to do. If you want to score well, is like you hit it down the middle, then hit it to the middle of the green, because the greens aren't very big. They slope a little bit from back to front. That's it. And you're going to have a 25, 30-foot putt. And it's like if you can execute straight shots or, down the middle golf shots, you can score. So I thought this course did encourage guys, to play to different sections of the fairways, to get into different parts of the greens. Liked all that. But like you were just saying, maybe they could have stretched them a little bit more and gotten another foot out of it. That might have been interesting, because I felt like they were able to putt and chip aggressively if they got anywhere, beneath the hole. And there were several times you see some putts that would be going at the hole, or, looked like it had a possibility. Yeah, and it just dies out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the course, Pat?
Shoots. I thought it was good. There was a lot of, the different cuts that they had. The first cut, second cut, the intermediate cut, and then they had, like a native kind of cut that was out there too. And it was a good golf course. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a good course to play. It could penalize you if you hit bad shots. It played well if you hit good shots. I mean, if you could hit some special drives out there, you could beat anybody. And that's the kind of course you need for match play. I mean, even if you get a guy that's Brian Harmon and hits some perfect drives that are 280, like, he's still going to beat your eyes out. I mean, that's just all that it is. You don't have to hit it 340 out there. You don't have to. You can play the golf course a lot of different ways from a lot of different angles. And I thought it was fair to watch a Ryder Cup on.
I thought
there was no chance of that golf course, getting away from anybody, and it was fair all the way around.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting watch for match play, especially with the last three holes. 16, 17, and 18 made it really, really fun to watch. Did anybody get a chance to watch the Spieth match today?
That was a match.
I mean, I didn't watch it. I'm just sitting here and looking at the stats, and somebody won 12 holes. So it had to be, was Lowry playing as bad as Spieth, or did Spieth kind of like get his shit together?
Well, look at it. Look at it. In the first 10 holes of the match, Spieth won. And I can't say this with certainty, but I think they were all birdies. So Spieth came out playing well. Let's take a look at it. I may be wrong here, but yeah, it was a birdie on 1, birdie on 3, birdie on 5, birdie on 10.
And he also birdied 2 and 4.
Yeah, they just were pushes.
He made 5 birdies in a row. Spieth made 7 birdies on the front.
No. He made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They need to not use circles.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I hear you. No, he birdied 1, parred 2, birdied 3, parred number 4. He eagled number 5.
That's crazy.
Let's see if we can watch that.
So he's 4 under after 5.
Yeah.
This dude couldn't hit the fucking broadside of a barn yesterday.
Well, I don't think
after 5.
So here he is. Looks like he's hitting a big old fade off the tee.
God damn.
And this is Spieth doing Spieth type things right here,
That shit almost went in. That's
I mean,
crazy,
this is sick.
man.
You know, just like he was thumping Shea Lowry in the beginning, and then he lets him come back.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, he didn't lose,
Thank God.
but he didn't win either. So, it brings up the question: did he, or has he yet won a singles match?
He has not. He's halved. So he birdied 9 too. So he was 5 under on the front.
Oh, let's take a look at that.
I got a name that I thought about earlier today. It hasn't come up into like, why isn't he at the Ryder Cup?
He went out in 30.
But
I got that right.
Where's Tony Finau?
Yeah.
He didn't get a pick.
How did we end up with Sam Burns and not Tony Finau? Like, Tony Finau isn't even on the bad boys list. Like, he's on the good guy list.
Yeah.
How is Tony Finau not there?
What'd Spieth come in?
Come in? What do you mean?
What did he?
Yeah, what did he shoot coming in?
What did he shoot on the back coming in?
Well, he went out in 30. And then see, he's -1, -2, -1, -2. I mean, he came in 34. So he shot 64. I mean, I guess you could say Shane Lowry earned it. But
dude, Spieth shot 7 under. That's insane. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And got a half.
Yeah.
All right, what happened? Okay, so when are we out of it? Where did we end up?
So I think
I'd assume around here.
I think it was Fleetwood who got them to 14. No, it wasn't Fleetwood. I'm a dork.
All right, let's go back up.
They were looking for the half from Justin
Hatton got them to 14.
Yeah.
And then
Shane Lowry's half clinched it.
Yeah, that's 14 and a half. So he clinched it. And then this was 15 and a half, 16 and a half.
Did we concede both of those or like?
I don't know. This is where I lost track.
Yeah.
Nope. That's a win.
How many? I would love to see the records. Fleetwood had a great Ryder Cup. Fleetwood is a fantastic Ryder Cupper.
Yeah.
And
but can't win a golf tournament.
Bobby Mack had a really good Ryder Cup too.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but like he beat Wyndham Clark.
I wish he won there.
I was so high on Wyndham Clark.
You've been high on Wyndham Clark, and I feel like you've even been a little gracious towards your boy Michael Block.
Dude. I think Michael Block could have scored some points. Like dead ass.
No, not against Shane Lowry.
No, he wouldn't have taken down Shane Lowry. I don't know, man. These Euros were kind of stomped us like pretty handedly.
What did Victor Hovland shoot? Like, let's go look at that.
Yeah, let's look at that.
Let's look at something like what did somebody shoot, you know?
Hovland played his balls off.
So he's -1, -2, -3, -4, -6. So he went out in 31 on the front.
Okay.
And then on the back. So back he was just 2 under.
Yeah, with
so he probably would have lost to Spieth.
That's crazy.
66.
He was on pace. Yeah, but he's 66 or 65.
But he's got a couple holes to go. He would have birdied that 5.
Yeah, who else we got? What'd Rory shoot?
Don't tell me Spieth has the low round of the day. That's insane.
So Rory is
30 on the front is playing though.
he went out in 31. And then he was on pace for a 32 on the back.
Okay.
With
62 from Rory.
With a 63. 63. So with a par on 18. With a birdie, he would have been 62.
He would have for sure made birdie at least on 18. All right, so we got our shit kicked in. Who do we think should have been on the team that would have made a difference?
You know what I'm thinking.
P. Reed.
Dustin Johnson. I think they should have left Burns at home and put Dustin Johnson in there, and
I think
I would have left Burns, and with the rest of these fools, I can understand them being there. Ricky, given that he played so little, and as much as I dislike him, probably Patrick Reed. He's a great Ryder Cupper, or just Cupper in general. 2-time NCAA champion,
he would have thrived in this toxic shit too.
Yeah, he would have loved it.
I know, man.
He would have loved it. So, I mean, those were probably the guys. I think Jordan was there for a good reason. Typically been a strong cupper minus maybe the, the singles. But it looks like he's starting to get a little better in the singles play. I think Justin was a good pick. Brooks is a good pick, despite his one horrible loss. I just can't see it going to battle without Dustin. He would have played at least 4 matches, and he probably would have won to play all 5. And I think he easily would have gotten 2.5 to 3 points.
I just don't think realistically you don't pick the guys that you picked. You know what I'm saying? Like,
who was a pick? Who was not an automatic?
Brooks.
Yep.
Spieth.
I'm just wanting a reminder.
Brooks, Spieth, JT, Fowler, Sam Burns, and Morikawa.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Those were the 6 captains' picks.
Morikawa, I'm taking Dustin Johnson.
Yeah. Morikawa than the other guy I would have maybe dropped.
Sam Burns, picking up Bryson DeChambeau. Justin Thomas, probably going to get Tony Finau.
Yeah. Cam Young.
And Jordan Spieth, I would have taken Keegan Bradley probably.
I was going to say, if there was a third guy to drop, and I don't know who the third would have been, but I would have put in either Keegan or Tony. Because Keegan's another guy, that just thrives on it.
You're not dropping Brooks. Seventh was Brooks. 8th was Spieth. 9th was Cam Young. You didn't pick him. 10th.
But I'm taking Ricky Fowler. So I got Ricky Fowler and Brooks are the only 2 picks that I'm taking of the total picks
existing.
That we had. Yeah.
So you're dumping Spieth and JT.
Yes. Sam Burns.
They played bad.
JT didn't.
They had I was listening to a pod today of one of our contemporaries, and they were talking about the strokes gained statistics. Spieth was dead last, and JT was second.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's such a bad. I feel like those are bad metrics though in an event like this because you're influenced so much by your playing opponent and your playing partner.
Right. I agree. Strokes gains is a tough stat, especially in match play, because if Spieth puts it out of fucking play, I can't hit a driver. I got to hit a fucking iron off the tee now if I'm JT. You know what I'm saying? It just
Yeah.
factors into shit that wouldn't normally be even in consideration.
Well, that
So.
and something else to think about too, the extraneous pressure. So, like in best ball or four ball, let's say, let's just say in a four ball, your partner hits it out of bounds and your two opponents are both down the middle of the fairway.
Yeah.
What do you do? Or you've got one guy in the fairway and another guy that's teetering without a bounds, and you think he might be in, but you're not certain he might be out. So again, what do you do? And so you got the pressure of knowing, they're in play, or at least they got one in play, and your other guy's pretty much in his, your partner's pretty much in his pocket. And so I don't put much in it. I use the eye test.
Yeah.
Especially for the cups. Match play is a little bit different, like the Dell match play. US Amateur, that kind of stuff. And I would love to see the US Am 4-ball or whatever they call it, US 4-ball. That'd be fun to see what those guys are doing. But this, man, just, yeah, strokes gained doesn't do it for me in this. So, that's interesting to find out.
Mm-hmm. Did this event make you fans of anybody that you weren't fans of before?
Maybe like Rahm even more.
Pat?
I became more of a Zach Johnson hater.
That's easy to do.
Let's elaborate on that.
About it.
Let's elaborate on that.
Well, I became a Cantlay fan. I love
really. I mean, you're gonna pull for the Navy on Navy guy. Like, I can't do it.
I thought what he did play wise was just so clutch. I thought what he was money. Saturday evening and then winning today was just nails. You don't see that often.
Let's go over the team's top 3 players as record.
For the U.S.,
Can we see that?
Just from off the top of my head, I think it's Homa, Harmon, and Cantlay.
Okay.
That's just from the golf I've seen.
Let's see what they got here on Golf Digest. They give the point totals by player. All right, so for Team Europe, you had Rory 4-0-1, Hatton 3-0-1, Hovland 3-1-1. So those are your top 3.
Ludwig.
And then for America, EJ, nice job. Homa 3-1-1, Harmon 2-2-0, Cantlay 2-2-0.
Yeah.
And then you have Brooks at 1-1-1.
That's Brooks's MO. He comes and does that every year.
Yeah. But here's something I want to point out. Look who here's number 5.
Sam Burns.
No, Justin Thomas.
Oh, what was his record?
1-2-1.
Who's below him?
So they got this all. Wyndham Clark, yeah. They got this wrong. They said Wyndham Clark 1 point. Yeah, they show him as 1-1-1.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Jordan Spieth was 0-2-2. Scotty Scheffler was 0-2-2. Xander was 1-3-0, and then Ricky 0-2.
It's terrible. What was the rest of Europe's record? What was Fleetwood?
Fleetwood was 4th on their squad at 3-1-0, and so I think that's something that's worth bringing up right there. They had 4 guys win 3 matches or more.
Yeah, So who were they again? Rory was number 1. He played with Fleetwood. How many times? I think twice, and then he played with Fitzpatrick twice.
Yeah.
Did Rory play all 5?
Yeah, because he was 4-1.
Yeah.
And he was the only one on Europe to do that?
Yeah, he's the only player to score 4 points.
And then did anybody on the US play?
All 5?
Yeah. Max?
Yeah, I mean Justin and Jordan.
God.
Excuse me, Justin sat out 1 match because he went 1-2-1. And looks like Jordan did sit out 1 match. So maybe Homa was the only guy that played 5 matches. He went 3-1-1.
Dude, good for Max.
Yeah, he's the dude, man.
That's a nice thing to see.
Yeah.
So I know Pat touched on hating Zach Johnson more. Let's elaborate on his captainship and what we think. So Pat, you could take the lead.
Politics were involved in his picks,
Mm.
and he didn't find the middle ground, and so like I knew that going in, and I held it against him, and that's one of the reasons I didn't watch as much as I would normally do, just because there's too much other stuff involved in it, not the golf. So, kind of hold my participation out a little bit and see if that makes a difference. It probably didn't, but whatever. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I feel about it. And just that anytime you let something like that get involved in representing the country on, if we win or lose, one of the best titles in all of sports, in my opinion, is the Ryder Cup. It's one of the coolest events there is in sports, bar none. And just to, kind of have that taken out of it, just, yeah, I hate on Zach Johnson going forward even more.
Did you
stick to my guns?
Did you see him? Did you see him pull Spieth off the tee on 16 on Saturday? So I guess Spieth and JT were playing against Rose and Bobby Mack, and the European guys were where they needed to be. Bobby Mack had one like greenside, and Rose was just off the green, short left. JT hit one basically where Rose was. So they get up there and they're dormy. It's 3 up with 3 to play, and Spieth has a driver in his hand, and for whatever happened, Zach Johnson, he goes up there and says something, and then Spieth switches to a 3-wood. And then Spieth hits this 3-wood and fucking flails it right into the water. So I'm watching this live. I'm like, this is just a kerfuffle of errors. It couldn't have gone worse for them. It was just so bad. Match was over instantly. And then they immediately called out like Zach Johnson on the broadcast. They're like, I cannot believe that he just went over there and took him off that club. They're like, he's really captaining his way. Hopefully this goes his way. And it's like, oh man, not happening.
Not the way he wanted it to go.
No. How do you think Luke Donald did?
I think he did just fine.
He was such a non-story, which is how a captain should be.
Yep.
That was
he didn't have to deal with the whole, picking players for this and that and the other, because he had the, his point system's a little bit different, and he didn't have a lot of huge factors involved. Pick the players and go play.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting to not have Sergio involved, but the fact that they could participate and not have Sergio there, which he wouldn't have probably been a playing factor anyway, but he would have been there as a co-captain, maybe a playing co-captain, you know what I mean? Like that,
sure.
If there's a Ryder Cup, they probably would involve Sergio, but I think that was the one that they did it to, play along kind of deal. And I mean, but at the same time, it's like Sergio would have been there if this wasn't the whole live thing wasn't a big deal. But other than that, I mean, Luke Donald did a good job. I mean, look, he's got 3 guys that had 3 wins.
Yeah.
Luke Donald did just fine.
So
was a non-factor, kept his mouth closed, and hey, we'll take the trophy back home.
Yeah,
I think it's an interesting point.
Hey, yeah, it reminded me of like Stricker. So, and like you never really remember anything that Stricker said from that. But if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Padraig Harrington the captain of the Euros that year?
Yep.
Yeah, just 2 years ago.
And I remember that because I remember him talking a lot. So I guess just like we remember Tom Watson, we will remember Zach Johnson for all of his chit chat. And Luke Donald will just go down in the cockles of history with no real reminiscence part. And that's the great thing about being a captain. If you do your job, nobody fucking really remembers you.
You know what though? The Euros will probably reward him, and he'll get to be the captain again next year and just do the same thing.
Dude, I hope he does. You know what I'm saying?
In 2 years, because I mean, they love that stuff. Like, don't be the loudmouth. Be the one that doesn't say anything and just get the job done. They love that.
Yeah. What do you think, Scott?
Well, I think Pat brought up a very interesting point, how they did it without Sergio, and something that became, very consistent and redundant, which, like I brought up a couple of days ago, the Euros are very redundant in their Ryder Cup decisions. It was the changing of the guard. So they didn't have Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia. Not that I would say he was a mainstay, but they didn't have Paul Casey either. He has been in quite a few cups.
No Martin Keimer.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Keimer's been in a few.
Keimer hadn't played to be on there though.
Yeah.
No Pablo
Paul Casey hadn't played to be on there. I don't think Poulter has either. Like, I think you got a couple of co-captains that weren't involved, but not necessarily players.
Because some of those guys went to live, it made it easy for them not to be there. Sergio is the only one that had somewhat of an argument for being there, and he wasn't. So I mean, they eradicated those guys from their system, and Lowry, McIlroy, they're kind of the current mainstays. I feel, that might have only been like Lowry's 3rd Ryder Cup.
But he's consistent Euro though.
Rose is the other one, yes. Rose definitely. He's the only guy that was in his 40s.
But at the same time, Rose is a couple more bad rounds from not being there though, in my opinion. Like they'll pick up some no-name guy instead of Justin Rose because he's doing something on the DP World Tour that we don't see. That Justin Rose is just over here floundering around and quitting at Bay Hill.
Rose is your next captain.
I think they'll give it to Luke Donald again, but I agree with you. Rose is probably on the short list, but they'll probably want to loop him in. So like maybe if he's not on the team at Bethpage, like as a player, they'll have him as a co-captain because the Euros are real big on that. You're going to be a co-captain before you're a captain.
So here's a question. So when Sergio quits playing, do they let him be a Ryder Cup captain?
I would say no.
You would say they don't, or would you say no as well?
No, I would say that they don't let him be a captain. He's out.
I kind of agree with you.
Like I said, changing of the old guard. Or changing of the guard. They're gone. Just live with it. So
has Olafable been a captain before?
Yes.
Sure
he was. Yeah. Well, he was a co-captain for homeboy there, or a assistant vice sidekick.
So what happens if somebody like Brooks Koepka wins like 10 majors?
Yeah, no, man. Like that's
you know what I mean?
know.
Like, does he get to be a Ryder Cup cat? Well, I mean, I guess he does because he's the liver that got to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
What do you think the US has to do to win in Europe?
They got to take the best team possible. And they got to go practice. They had an Italian Open there that nobody played in. They didn't go over there and practice. They had practice sessions that people missed. They should have gone over there 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And gone over there and played it. In practice. That helps.
Yeah. Just ill prepared.
They should have played at least once or twice between the Tour Championship. Probably twice between Tour Championship. And I think I was saying this to you, EJ.
Like, go play some rounds of golf together if you're going to be on a team.
Well, but they need to be competitive too. Like they actually need to be out there competing, getting their grind on, having to sweat it a little bit. I think they should have taken a week off after the Tour Championship and then played somewhere. Then taken another week to rest, maybe go see the course, then play, and then get over there a week early, which I think they kind of did. But they had 5 weeks off, and I think all of them, other than maybe Justin, did he play somewhere once? But I mean, like, pretty much
I don't know.
the entire U.S. team, man, just rested, and I think that showed, it was a bad look. And if you look at it, we went down 5 on day 1. They started playing a little better days 2 and 3, and they lost by 5.
You think it's because they don't give a fuck?
Oh, I think they definitely care. I think, though, this is just my opinion, I think they make too much of their prima donnas as a whole.
Yeah.
And maybe part of the reason why, Brooks did have an okay cup. He kind of played up to it because he had Liv.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Just disappointing all over.
How many points did Brooks score again?
He was 1-1-1.
1-1-1.
Yeah, 1-1-1.
Look up his career record. I think it might be like
4-4-4,
7, 8, and like 6. He's not a notoriously good Ryder Cupper. I think he's on the Cantlay bandwagon.
He owns a 6-5-1 career record.
Okay.
And he's never lost a singles match. He's 2-0-1.
Well, I knew he's super intimidating in singles, which is why I knew he was going to beat Ludwig. But I don't know, man. I think they need to go to like 3 automatic qualifiers only.
See, I disagree. I think that makes it easier for F-ups like what we saw this year, because I think we can all agree, too many boys were picked rather than, guys who are golfing. What the magic number is, I don't know. I don't know if making it 2 like it used to be or 3 is right either. But I think if they're doing something like changing up the points, the way that you accumulate points would be a lot better idea than necessarily changing the number of picks. But if they are going to, I say go more automatic points, maybe like 7 or 8, and put more recency bias into their point system. And as you get further from a victory,
important. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they need to take some emphasis off of the majors, because I'm fine with Brian Harman having been there. But I didn't think Wyndham Clark should have been there at all, and kind of showed.
No, that dude's been good for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, Wyndham Clark's been good for like 6 weeks. Yeah.
I mean, it might be longer than that, but I mean, it's not. He hadn't been good for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point. Brian Harman
I mean,
he's
6
a cut
months,
making
8 months,
machine.
something like that. I mean, what did he win? He won like back to back this year. What did he win, like 2 or 3 times?
He won twice, but he won a
Yeah.
designated event and then he won the U.S. Open.
Yeah. Which, hey, Wyndham Clark won 2 events this year too. One was the U.S. Open. Harman won the Open Championship, but Harman was steady Eddie. Doesn't miss a lot of cuts, and
plays good golf.
Yeah, just week in,
Everybody
week out.
that automatically qualified had a good 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? JT's good 6 weeks 2 years ago got him in the mix. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's really had like a dominant year. Brooks has had a good 6 weeks. They've just been 1 week 6 times. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean,
Because
Scotty
everything
was
goes
pretty
1,
solid.
1, and 1. I mean, yeah.
Scotty was solid, but then he wept
Well,
at
he
the
was
Ryder
the
Cup.
only one like that guy is. Yes, he should be on the team.
Yeah.
Like he was the one, and then it's like Brooks Koepka. Yeah, I'd put him up against anybody head to head. Yes, we're taking that guy.
Yeah.
And then the rest,
I'm in on Cantlay.
Are we sure that like Victor Hovland's not American? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty certain Sepp Straka is an American.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he graduated from Georgia. Did you say he's from Valdosta?
Yeah, like
he
grew
is.
up in
Yeah.
Valdosta. Well, yeah, he came over here at like 9 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. We want him
Dipped
now.
Copenhagen and went to UGA. I mean, he's pretty American if you ask me.
Yeah.
He was born in Vienna, and then
That's
he moved
true.
to Valdosta, Georgia when he was 14.
There you go. 14.
Later attended the University of Georgia alongside Grayson Sigg. I mean, people have cracked jokes before. He's like, "Oh, this Austrian has got a southern accent and dips."
Yeah, man. He does
him.
he does a killer southern rendition of The Sound of Music too.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I'd have taken different players. I'd have taken different players when they were talking about taking the players they were. It's like, no, that's not them.
Do you think it's because these guys didn't fit the course, or they just were not playing well?
They weren't the best players we have. That's all there is to it, I think.
So you don't think course fit factors in at all?
No.
Because I brought this up yesterday.
Not at that level.
I said, how many points would Lucas Glover have scored this week?
Right. Depends on if he's still hot or not. I couldn't take him on the Ryder Cup because he was just a flash in the pan.
Yeah, but all these other dudes have had a hot 6 weeks.
Not all of them. Justin Thomas shot 80 a couple weeks ago.
No, but I'm saying Justin Thomas's hot 6 weeks in 2021 got him into the conversation to even be picked.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Just like Wyndham's Clark, hot 6 weeks qualified him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been fun to have Lucas Glover there, because he's a very passionate but quiet about it kind of guy, and it might have been interesting to see what would have come out of him. He got hot with a putter. He is a great ball striker, and he is sneaky long, which is kind of fun too, because you get out there with like Rahm and Rory and Scotty and Brooks, and watch those guys just drill these massive drives, and you're probably not thinking Lucas Glover's going to do it, and then suddenly he flies a corner that nobody's looked at, and you're kind of like, where did that just come from? He's a great athlete, so it's possible he could have scored, but we're never going to know, and I think it's difficult to speculate on. Pretty confident he hits a lot of draws.
He does.
One thing that I saw a lot of were fades. And it was, if there are some gripes I had about the course, it was the drivable par fours, all of them, the guys are hitting drivers with fades, or just nuking a 3-wood as high as they can. but
you're
like
hitting the fade so it lands softer.
correct. So that
That's all that is.
They put it right between a driver and a 3-wood length, pretty much intentionally, I think, for these guys to force them to have to hit a phenomenal 3-wood or do something with the driver. And the reason why, so one of the complaints I had about the course, the speed's not so much a complaint. It was just more of like an observation where I think it could have been better, but it was like an opportunity, if you like a SWOT analysis. Um, but I felt like most of those greens had large openings leading up to them, but these massive like swales and fall offs. And even though they looked like they were tightly mown, I don't know if it's the turf, I don't know if it was just the conditions or the severity of the slopes, but like there's really no option to run the ball up on the greens. What's the point in having these massive openings? There's a few where if you had the right angle and you worked the ball in, you could bring it in from the left or, bring it in from the right, but for the most part, big openings that you couldn't do anything with it. It was in a sense it was kind of penal to miss short. And I'm a huge fan of Donald Ross. A lot of his greens, even though they might have been perched up, you could miss short, and if you had a driving shot in, you could chase it up on a green. Where his courses are penal, or where his greens are penal, are the sides and on the rear. And I felt like this course rewarded, the high ball, bringing it in high and soft. And there were big greens that were undulating. And I think it'd been nice to see a little bit more fast play and, the ball bouncing. And I think they could have been more interesting and provocative on those drivable par fours.
How
So
can you
more
be more interesting and provocative than a drivable par four?
No,
That's pretty provocative.
I think it'd been more provocative if they played them a little longer and the guys were trying to bounce the ball onto some of those greens or have them just hit like a big shot, kind of like, getting back to
But then the more than likely they go to lay up to go back to 100 yards.
maybe. But that was the thing. Like there was only really one shot on those drivable holes. You didn't see anybody not go for the green. At least I didn't when I watched. Everybody went for it. So could you really say it was that interesting? And that's why the broadcast said time and time again, it's really like there's 6 par threes out here. Because
No.
it wasn't a thought in anybody's mind to lay up on the drivable par fours. And one of the things that I think goes against Lucas Glover is he mostly hits a draw. And how much would a guy who is a great ball striker, maybe struggled? Like the course did encourage the high play, but it didn't really give you anything for the low play, and he doesn't hit the ball crazy high, and he hits a draw. And it might not have gone well for him on those drivable par fours because I don't know if he quite does have the length to hit the 3-wood and get it there.
I don't think Zach Johnson took certain players because of how they hit their drives on these drivable par fours. I highly doubt that.
Quite possible. Maybe if they'd gone over and played in the Italian Open, then Zach Johnson might have been thinking about that.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't hit drivers on those holes though. Probably set them up a little bit differently. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think that they ought to take whoever's the automatic. They ought to make like 4 automatics, and then everybody else plays for it. We got 5 weeks in between. We need to pick like Valhalla or something cool in the transition zone, and just
Oh,
say,
yeah.
y'all show up here. We're gonna play 3 rounds of golf in 2 days. We're gonna play 36, 18, see who wins. Let's go.
I like
And then
that
you
because
get to be the Ryder Cup, or you don't get to be in the Ryder Cup. Doesn't matter.
I like that because I actually was thinking about something like that. It's like I wonder if a captain would ever have the stones to have like an open tryout. And that could be interesting. What if they said, "Hey, we're gonna stick with our 6 automatic qualifiers. Captain's gonna pick 3, and then the other 3 you're duking it out."
I'd let
Those
them all play. Like all the captains pick, play it out. Right now, we're
yeah.
leaving next week. and we're going over there 2 weeks early, and we're going to go over there and do nothing but practice and play and get ready.
Put them in match play. 16 guys. Captain's got to pick 16.
You gotta play too many rounds though. You only play 3 rounds of stroke play.
No, because they're not playing stroke play.
Best ball striker wins. I know, but best ball striker wins. If you can go out there and play the best 3 rounds, you can beat anybody at match play. I promise you.
Maybe.
Birdies win match play, not
we
pars.
can agree to disagree. I think it'd be fun to have them go out and play. Maybe it's like the captain picks 2 spots. I don't know. And then they have 4 guys.
Captain picks 6.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it might be interesting, and have them go out and play a match play bracket. Captain selects 16 guys, fills out a bracket, and it says, okay, you get to the semifinals, you're in. But if you win the thing, like, you're gonna get a little bit of favoritism, somewhere or another. I don't know, but that could be
When
was
the
fun.
last time you watched the match play and you got down to the final 4 guys and you go, that's the guys that I thought were going to be here. That's the guys that I think should be on the Ryder Cup. Never.
No, because we've never even put those. Because we've never put those guys together. Hey, I called Scotty Scheffler a couple years ago.
I'm talking about the Dell match play.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, when you get down to the final 4 of those, like, that's going to be your Ryder Cup team, is what you're trying to set up.
Yeah, but the Dell match play was played in March.
It'd be kids.
It was played in March.
Yeah.
We're talking about something that's traditionally played in, like, September or October. They got 6 months between them. So I think that right there kind of takes away some of the relevancy of it. But if you do look at it, you got Sam Burns and Scotty Scheffler, the guys who won the last 2 Dell match plays.
That put up fucking
And how did
stinkers.
they do this week?
Yeah.
I think you gotta take them to a course and duke it out, man. Duke them out stroke play, because that's what golf is. And then we figure out who's the best, and then we go play games of golf.
So here's something I want to bring up. In Europe, they still do it a little bit. Over here, not that much. Most of the golf in Europe traditionally was played, 4 balls and foursomes. You go out, to the course and you would play with your boys. You didn't play stroke play. Stroke play has really been an American thing. Right. That's why PGA Tour, it's traditionally been all 72-hole stroke play. Then you take a look at the Euros, and they grow up, playing 4 balls. Like, they have club teams, and they go out and play matches. So I don't know how much they do, like, high school golf. I know they do have some collegiate golf, but a lot of it is club play and it's match play. And I got to see it firsthand because I went over to Scotland when I was 18. We made our own kind of like club team and went over and played like 6 matches. And then a couple other rounds like at Carnoustie and St. Andrews.
Can we do that now?
Sure, I'm sure they got club matches for men. I don't know.
No, I want to play like the 18-year-olds.
You'll get waxed.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
That's something that you and I could do, is we could go out and play an alternate shot, see what we would shoot.
That'd be fun.
See if we would shoot better than 7 over in 11 holes.
I don't know.
I think we would. We wouldn't get beat 9 and 7.
Maybe. We'll see.
I don't know.
All right.
Anybody got anything else to add? Nope.
Not today.
Who should be the captain, Pat, at Bethpage?
Phil.
Freddie Couples.
I love Fred. So I can't hate on that.
Freddie Couples.
We posed this question and I said I think it should be Phil, but I think it will be Freddie. So I love that.
And We need somebody that's a little bit more old school as a co-captain. I think I'm gonna bring back Stricker as a co-captain.
I was gonna say they might do him again as the captain.
I like Stricker as a co-captain, and then I'm gonna throw Matt Kuchar in as a co-captain.
How old is Cooch?
He's almost old enough to be a Ryder Cup captain before too long.
He's 43, 44.
He's gonna be in my room. He's gonna be in my war room, and put together the room of, of my Ryder Cup. I think it's gonna be Stricker, Couples, and Kuchar. I would throw in there. That's an off the wall one, but I like it.
All right, I got one idea. What about David Duval?
No.
Mm-mm.
Come on.
No.
And the fact that David Duval is like known as this classy guy now just pisses me off every time. He's a total asshole.
What about
when
John
he was at
Daly?
Georgia Tech, they had to take 2 vans.
John Daly, Ryder Cup captain.
No, they never let it happen.
No.
What other old?
I would like to see them. I would like to see them get Azinger reactivated in some manner. I think they need to.
Just as long as they get his ass off the broadcast, I'm okay with that. What about Hunter Mahan, Ryder Cup captain?
He could be cool. I like Hunter.
I'm trying to think of like older Americans. What about like Mark O'Mara? Did he ever do it?
No.
What about Tom? Yeah, Hal Sutton. He did it. He was bad. He paired Tiger and Phil together, and he took a hell of a lot of shit for that. Yeah, I think that may have been.
I mean,
I think that may have been the one that the Euros beat him in the U.S.
Yeah, I think that was Oakland Hills.
What about Tom Lehman? Did he ever do it?
No,
he was involved,
that could be interesting.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think he's ever been a captain.
Who else has just got on the?
Has Corey Pavin done it?
Yeah, he did it. Trying to think who else is
Davis Love. Davis Love would be another good one. I mean, he's done it before, and he nearly won in 2012, and then they won 2014. Not 14. 2016 at Hazeltine.
Saxon?
No.
He was good back in his day, though.
Yeah, he won 5 or 6 times.
Is there anybody that's like super old that never got a chance to be a captain that like we could like wheel out and do it?
Like Duffy Waldorf.
Yeah, even older. Like
Craig Stadler, is he still alive?
I was thinking like I know Jack's still alive. I know Arnold's passed. Is Sam Snead still alive?
No, he's passed.
Lee Trevino's still alive?
Lee Trevino, he's never done it.
Are we claiming him these days?
Yeah. Yeah, he's an American.
I would love for Lee Trevino to do the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
He just has to shake his head though. Like Happy Gilmore shake.
That's okay. I'm down with that. Shit, I think Happy Gilmore could have got this many points if Adam Sandler fucking had coached the Ryder Cup while we were over there today.
Just make it like celebrities, dude. Just take Khaled and fucking whoever he picks to be like captains and let him go play.
Khaled has a fucking clout off on the internet for the other captain's picks.
What if like Larry Bird was a captain?
They should let Michael Jordan be a captain. That's who they should let be a captain.
Hey, you know what? Their fucking attire would be spot on.
Fuck yeah, it would. They wouldn't be dicking around with this bullshit with the 2 stripes across and the flag on the hat. Patrick Cantlay would get a hat that fit if Michael Jordan was the captain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's going home wearing the damn the merch from the event too. They're not wearing their own T-shirts home.
Nah, man.
The shit they got from the event home.
Yeah, for real. For real. They'd probably get custom shoes and everything.
If you do remember though, there was a year I think when Freddie was a President's Cup captain, that he had Michael
What about Pat
as a co-captain.
Perez? Take
Pat
Pat
Perez.
Perez as a Ryder Cup captain.
That'd
Pat
be
Perez and
good.
Charlie Hoffman.
Charlie Hoffman wouldn't be bad either.
But see, these guys never won enough because they played in the Tiger era, man.
I know, that's the tough thing.
Yeah.
They need to just let Tiger be the captain and have 12 captain's picks. Nobody's an automatic qualifier. Tiger has the competitive spirit to get the team to win.
Tiger would be the first one to make them play for it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys can beat Charlie, you can qualify for my team.
And we'll go play one of my courses.
Yeah. And Charlie plays from the Reds.
Not for long.
No, I know, but you got to set everything up against them.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
All right. Later, guys.
See you, man.
Adios.
Yeah, y'all be good.
Peace.